So,
Okay.
hi everybody. This is Joe Maldonado. That's me drinking my cup of very strong green tea. And Nanu Pagan, you're drinking your coffee?
I always have a cup of coffee, girl. What?
And that's why we call this segment Coffee and Tea because originally just started with Nanu and I just kind of hanging out online and talking about various subjects. And we thought, well, why not share them and have other people join us? And we'll just keep drinking our coffee and tea. So I'm the tea, she's the coffee. That's the way it goes. So today we're going to be talking about learning the path of a seer. So I think, and I'm the one actually that is teaching the series that is premiering in August. Right, Nanu?
Actually, quite exciting. Yeah. And you know what? It's really amazing to see how much you've grown because we've known each other for a really long time.
Yes.
And it's comparing that memory of how you were then with the clairaudience and the clairsentience and all these different um, uh, things that you're going to be talking about
All right.
coming now to the point where you're actually being able to express what they are specifically and
Yeah.
how to work. And I mean, seeing that growth is pretty amazing. I mean, it floors me. It
You
really
know,
does.
it is. And it's really funny because I remember, oh my gosh, it had to be maybe 20 years ago or so. We live in Florida, and we're actually about a mile or two away from the town of Casadega. So, for those of you that are not familiar with the town, it's a spiritualist community. It's all mediums. They study mediumship. They have a 4+ year program where you could be certified as a medium. It's the whole thing. And back in 20 years ago or so, I had a public relations agency, and one of my clients was the town of Casadega. So I learned all about it. I attended a lot of the classes. We had a lot of media out there that were interested in seeing, well, do spirits really come in? Let's do a seance. But I got to know this one particular medium, and I attended one of her classes. And she was talking about the clairs. Okay, so and I'm like, the what's the clairs? Clairaudient, clairsentient, and then she went through clairomniscient, all the clairs. I was so confused. I was so confused because there's actually more than four or five clairs. There's a whole bunch of them, but
I mean, we are antenna. We really are.
yeah, yeah, and it was so confusing. I couldn't get which one was what, and she tried to break it up. Then she turned to me in her seer fashion, and seeing the future. She said, "You're going to be teaching the clairs one day." And I went, "Nope, no way. I don't even know one clair from another. I can tell you which clair I'm seeing or doing today." And here I am, teaching people to be able to get a little bit stronger in doing what I do naturally. And when you get down to it, it's using the clairs, like really using them really, really well.
Absolutely. And the cool thing is that, everybody has these naturally.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
everybody taps into them naturally, but
right.
we all have that possibility open to us.
Yes.
So to be able to talk to somebody who wasn't that well connected and now is someone who had to work at it, it's just really I think it's very appropriate. I mean, I come from a background where that's how you really learn things. You go with someone who's actually gone around the block once or twice. So
Yeah.
it's really cool that she'll be able to offer that.
Yes. Yeah. No, I just silenced whoever came on. Because
Now, the thing is this, in your class, you're going to be going over four classes. It's not just one class, which our school usually offers one class at a time
it's
to
actually a
give you
course.
options,
Yeah.
but you're offering four classes.
Yes.
Um, could you go into a little bit why you decided to divide it? I
Yes.
mean, I get it, but could you go
Yeah.
into it a little?
So it's broken up into four classes. It's a course, actually on being a seer. And I just remember when I was young, I was fascinating. fascinated with the Greek oracles, and the Roman oracles back in the day, way, way, way
Yes.
back ago, where people would stand in line to see the oracle because they had a question. And back then it was, I would bring you a loaf of bread, but it didn't go to the oracle was kept by the government. So she was provided a residence and things to eat and a nice outfit so she could present herself, and then everybody would come in and they would give things, but the things that they gave were not to her because she was a kept person, and went to the government. But they would give like a lamb or a cow or a goat or milk or eggs or bread or whatever they had, and that was their payment to get their question answered from the oracle. So, and they would ask things like, is my mother-in-law, going to recover from smallpox or whatever, whatever was going
Absolutely.
on.
As a matter of fact, I know the politicians used to go to them for war advice as
Oh, yes.
well, whether they were going to win or not. Yeah.
And they owned the oracles. I mean,
Hmm.
the government, quote, politicians used to own them. So, there was none of that, where, I'm a free spirit. I got my house, I got my dogs, I got my cat, and I could do this online, and I can answer your questions. There was a lot of control over that. So that was my original fascination with it. And I remember reading, I thought, oh, this is so cool. The people went to see this person. And I remember just reading more and more and more and studying a little bit about it a long time ago. And then all of a sudden, I read this passage about, well, what the oracle really does. The oracle sees the past, the oracle can see remotely the present, and the oracle can see, in a way, the future. I mean, possibilities. Everybody has,
Possibilities, right.
yeah, they have their own, option to either go this way or that way. And I thought, wow, this is what I can do, that I've been doing this, and I just kind of sort of began exercising each component, the past, seeing the past. So,
How is it that you've decided to divide these classes then into the four pieces? How does that help a
oh,
student learn?
right. And so it's what it really is we all have this other version, in this other ethereal world of our sight, our hearing, our smelling, our tasting, our feeling. It's the parallel of this particular reality. So if I go into a very balanced state and I'm very neutral and my perspective is zoned out, how do I know that if I touch this bottle here, why can I see who touched it before me? What they were feeling when they packed it, and why is that? So it really boils down to really knowing the clairs, And so the first part and the third part are a deep understanding and history of, like the first part is clairvoyance, and and then clairaudience. So we go into what are they? How do you practice them? We're going to do exercises because I really want folks to understand what it is that they're doing and what they're capable of. You're capable of so much more than you think you're capable of. And so that's the first class, encompasses the background and those two clairs. And then on the second time that we meet, that's August 21st. On the second time we meet, September 11th, we go into those two clairs, clairaudient and clairvoyant. Well, clairaudient being hearing what you hear, clairvoyant vision, what you see. Okay, again, in this ethereal realm, what you see and hear. And we do a lot of practice and a lot of exercises because I want folks to really get this right.
I think that's really important also because it's very easy to learn of the ins and outs of some of the things, right?
Yep.
But it's in the practice where we really get a feel for how we work and how we connect as individuals.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and some people, will be better at and more astute in hearing than they will in smelling. I don't smell. I do smell sometimes, someone's, yeah, ha ha ha. I smell
I'm
my
sorry. I
coffee.
didn't even have to say anything.
I know. But I do have the sense of smell. But My primaries are clairaudient. I hear and I see. You know, there's the third and fourth components. Go a little bit more into clairsentient, which is sensing or feeling. And then
But that would be already in your third class, right?
that
Because
would be September 25th,
yeah,
right?
the 25th. You
And
go into clairsentience, prescience, and cognizance.
exactly. And
Yeah.
claircognizant is really, that's an all-encompassing one. We have somebody in our group that, we all get together and we have this group called Griffin's Claw, the League of the Extraordinarily Gifted, which is a, group of 30 some individuals that are really good, and that are learning or interested, in using their gifts. And claircognizant is just you just know something's going to happen, and there's one lady in there, and she is just it's this is
On
just
the
I just
ball. Yeah.
noticed, yep, she's on the dot. I just know this is going to happen, and that I find very fascinating because to me the claircognizant was always the, oh, if you can't hear it, you can't smell it, you can't touch it, you
Just
can't,
tend to make it up,
I
right?
gotta make it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like it's just gonna happen. I don't know, But she is just spot on. She's like the only person I think I've ever met, so far, that is just Claire cognizant. She just knows stuff, and
Right.
and so then the final class, is going to be a wrap up of all the classes, but again, extensive exercises and really seeing, what you use, which one you use more, which one you use less. Do you want to get stronger at smelling? Okay, so this is what we're going to do. Do you want to get stronger at tasting? So we're going to explore these because when you go back to the name of the series, The Path of a Seer, you know, um, your clairs are your other sensory world, gifts. This is how you're going to see what happened in the past.
This is the
This
fear part of it, isn't
I,
it?
yeah, yeah.
And there's a lot of ways of seeing. In the Western world, we're very limited to the visual. We're very much about what we see.
Yeah,
Can you see what I'm talking about? You see what I mean? You see what I mean?
yeah.
When it comes down to it, we're very dependent on our vision. So being able to explore different ways of seeing or of conceptualizing the world is amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I'm doing a very intensive course of controlled remote viewing, which is doing it the way the military did it, years, and still do it, years ago, but still are doing it
Right.
actually. And it's very fascinating to me how our subconscious mind is the ethereal thread of energetic connection to everybody. How someone can just give me four numbers, and within those four numbers, following the structure of how you do controlled remote viewing, which is seeing somewhere in the present, like what's going on over at your house. I've been doing it anyway, but this is a different way of doing it. It's just fascinating to me how we're all connected,
Well,
so
that's one of the things that I really enjoy also about the school and about the way we handle it with our teachers and everything, because it's not enough to just do things, know things, and practice them ourselves as a service. It's
yes.
also important to continue learning, and we're doing just that.
Yes. Yeah, well, I'm learning, just like everybody else that's on the call here or that's going to be listening to the recording is learning. And I think that is, one of the goals of our school. We want to provide people with whatever they're interested in. We want to give them a resource. If I want to learn remote viewing, this is where I go. If I want to learn charms, how to use charms or tarot cards, or just whatever I want to, if I want to learn how to be a seer, so I can see things clearly, this is where I can go. That's again why I love the school, because it offers
Yeah.
everybody that is interested in this kind of field, field or life. I mean, this isn't for everybody. Not everybody wants to know
Mhm.
how you do this.
Exactly. And it's quite sad when different methods of thinking, of conceptualizing the world, you know, kind of tries to eclipse another. When the fact is that perspectives vary, and depending on your perspective, your chosen perspective is really what you're going to get out of that interaction.
Right, right, right. And perspective is so important. It is so important.
Absolutely.
I know that when I'm doing a reading for a client, for example, and someone comes to me with either they want to connect with someone that has passed, or a situation, or an animal, past or present, that if there's any kind of a block there, like once in a while, I get these ladies whose husband is not on board with what they're doing, and they want to keep it secret from their husband. And I would think, okay, well, I mean, that's their life. It's, that's the way they view things. That's the way they do it. That's no, I don't do things that way, but that's okay. But there's always that obstacle. It's like they won't tell me everything because they think their husband's going to walk in while they're talking to me, and the husband's going to hear. And so the reading gets cut right there because they're already blocking it. So perspective, I am open. I trust that who I'm going to
But
is
you
the
can
right
only
person.
get what you're going to get, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly,
I
exactly.
have a question for you. Coming back to the school and your classes.
Yes,
Now, let's say that I have, I'm have an interest, but I don't have any of those clear anything. Is this something that you'll be able to teach them how to develop and
absolutely.
maybe figure out which one would be stronger or easier for them to
Yes,
learn first?
yes, exactly. That's the whole purpose of doing this in four parts, so that if you have just a desire to learn how they work, I guarantee that you will walk away with at least two clairs that you are using, because that's everybody has it. You just kind of have to activate it,
Yeah,
and what I will provide for everybody that is in the course is to be able to activate that particular clair. We all have it. We all have it. It's just a matter of the manner, of how do you do it? How do you activate it? And it, again, guarantee you will walk away with at least two that you are really good at, that you'll feel comfortable in. It's 4 weeks. How can it's
yeah, you got to learn
I'm gonna
quick
drill
though.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you're gonna be with me for 4 weeks, and
You're
during
gonna learn. You're gonna leave learning something.
yeah. Yeah, you will definitely do that. That's for sure. That's
I'm
definitely for
looking
sure.
forward to that. So I'm assuming you're going to be giving homework and you're going to be
Yes.
giving suggestions and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Will the students be able to like discuss these? Is that what those other two classes
Yes.
are for review?
Yes.
And how are you going to do the practice with them though? What would a practice look like? And you don't have to give me all your secrets, just
Right.
an idea. What does one kind of practice look like?
Well, it's exercises. This is, what am I holding in my hand? Exercise. Now, new, what am I holding in my hand?
Right.
No, I'm asking you.
Oh, you're asking me? Oh, a crystal? I don't know.
Okay, what is it? What does it feel like? Okay, I'm gonna open this up to everybody. Heidi,
That's
and a
fun because
couple other
I'm not
people.
really good at that.
Yeah, well, that's okay. See, this is why this course will be really good. So, Sharon,
Joe, a
yes,
bird, a bird.
a bird. Why do you say bird?
Oh,
Sharon, why did
can
you
you
say
do this one?
bird? You're still muted.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
I don't know. It's just what I think you're holding. You're holding a bird.
Okay, does it feel soft? Does it feel hard? What does it feel like?
I feel something hard.
Hard. Okay.
I
Sharon,
don't feel soft.
Is it so the next question, is it biological? In other words, is it alive?
No,
It's not.
No.
Okay, it's not. Okay. So now I know you've got hard, and Sharon, is it hard or soft? Can you tell?
It's colorful.
It's colorful. What colors are there in it?
I see orange and red.
Okay, orange and red, and it's hard. It's not biological, it's hard. Okay, so if you go into your taste, for example, okay, does it taste like anything? Do you taste anything? Kind of wish your tongue around in your mouth. What do you taste anything? Heidi, Karen, feel free to pop in.
Well, I feel something rounded, but I don't taste anything but my coffee.
Okay, so that would be like I know that we would set aside as kind of in remote viewing they would call it an AOL. It's kind of an obstacle. It's kind of in your way because you're drinking coffee. So we set that aside. So I know we don't have much time, but I'm going to do the reveal. So is
Apple.
okay. Why did you say apple?
That's what I taste.
You taste apple. So what does an apple taste like to you?
Crisp.
Crisp. Okay. Is it sweet? Is it sour? Is it what kind of taste does it have?
I thought bitter, like metallic.
Metallic. Okay.
Bitter, like like pennies. Like if you have ever tasted a penny.
Okay. All right.
But I
And
also get roundish and smooth, and maybe
Yeah, I
cool.
get roundish. And
uh,
cool. I get cool also, yeah.
you get cool. All right. And Sharon, have you gotten fine tuned with that apple taste? Is it sweet?
No, it's just crisp. To
It's
me, it's crisp, but it's not sweet.
okay. All right. So, Nanu, are you still in the room?
I'm listening, yes.
I'll wait till you get back before I reveal, right? Okay, so,
Hi, I'm sorry.
okay, that's okay. So, it is a piece of freshly baked raisin bread. So, so
Oh,
it is hard. Okay. It is, parts of it are smooth. There are really big chunks of round raisins. I believe there are also cherries in it, so it's fruit-like. So some of them, and actually, I think this raisin bread also has a pineapple in it as well.
mm.
So I believe that's where apple. That's why I was asking you about the apple taste, Sharon.
Yes, yeah.
Um, Now, Heidi, if you're allergic to any of the ingredients, you might get a metallic taste.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about raisins in stuff.
Okay, there you go. And so the metallic in this other world represents that which you not don't really like.
That's
Okay.
interesting.
So, so you have everybody was right. Your subconscious came right forward. Um, it's you picked up different details in this piece of raisin bread that I was chomping on, freshly baked. I must say that I love.
Oh, congratulations.
I know. But I think this represents, parts of your subconscious, and that little string in your subconscious is the ethereal thread that connects us all. So,
Absolutely.
the seer, someone comes up to you and says, what about my cat? Well, okay. So you can go with when I was doing just animal readings and I wasn't doing readings for people, I would say, send me a picture of your animal, with the eyes looking through. And that was one of what my ways of, portaling into the subject is to look into the eyes, through the eyes, because I had a lot of training in that manner. But now as I'm advancing a little bit more, and I've learned through other classes that I have taken, it's okay to learn, but you've got to apply what you learned. So
It's not enough to learn the theory. You gotta practice.
you got
That's
to
right.
practice, and that's what this course is so good because you're going to practice. So, in practicing more, you all have had that thread connection to what I was holding. And Heidi, even though she said metallic represents not pleasant, don't like. So, it's establishing your language too, when you're building your toolbox of the clairs, And what am I seeing? What am I tasting? What am I feeling? What does it feel like? It feels hard. Does it taste like it tastes sweet like an apple? It tastes metallic. Is it round? Well, raisins are round. The cherries in here are round. I don't know about the pineapple chunks. I know about them. They're not round, but the other fruit is definitely round. So there's shapes. So your subconscious will tell you, or your subconscious equals your higher self. I will put that on the same level there. Will tell you different threads of information. So when you're doing, like for example, we do, looking for missing animals or missing people. People come to our group and ask for help. When you take aside, your obstruction, your coffee taste, and you put that aside, you're down to like, okay, so I know that coffee is blocking me from actually tasting what I'm tasting here. So subconsciously, you take that little cup of coffee and you put it off to the side and you go, okay, so I understand that, I honor it, but that's not it. So now let's go back in. So that's your language to your subconscious because
I
you're,
have a question on that. Now that
yeah,
you're talking about language, 'cause you
yeah,
know me, language.
yeah, yeah,
When it comes to language, let's say, for example, you said about the metallic taste meaning not liking something
right,
or
mhm,
somehow something that's not agreeable.
right,
Um, is that always the case? Let's say that you did have a penny. A penny would taste metallic.
hmm,
Um, is there a way of knowing the difference as to when that is true
yes.
and when that is not true?
Yes, because then you tap into your other senses and the other questions. And that would be, is it hard? Is it small? Is it big? Is it huge? Is it in front of me? You go into more of the questions to the subconscious, which, it will answer you, it's what does it smell like? Well, if you're tasting a metallic taste, like with raisins, and Heidi doesn't like them. If you're tasting a penny, it's gonna taste metallic. It's gonna be small. It's gonna be flat. It's kind of maybe gonna be gritty because it's gonna be dirty. It's so you go into a series of other questions about that just to make sure, and that's why it's really good to keep a journal. When you're doing these things, you keep a journal, keep some sheets next to you so you can go ahead and take notes on it.
I will witness, I am a witness for the Book of Shadows every day.
Yep.
Every day. That's the
Well,
best friend.
right, and and that's what I do. I have my
I
little
got
Griffin
mine
Fly
right
notebook.
here. My
Yep.
binder right next to me.
And we take all of our notes. Does anybody have any questions? We can address them now if you wanted to unmic yourself. Sharon, Heidi, Karen, you guys have any questions?
Okay, so all these classes, I've got the classes on August 21st, September 11th, September 25, and October 2nd. Those dates, are they all on the same day?
Yes, they're all on a Saturday at 11 o'clock. So you can't confuse them. And they start in a couple weeks. So
That is 11 o'clock Eastern, correct?
Eastern Standard, yes, yes. So Virginia people will be on the same time clock as I am. Now News in Texas, so she's on a different time clock.
Right. I always mix them up, so I always try to be very specific.
Yep, yep,
Okay.
right.
And in these reviews and strengthen classes, they're going to be the same length as the other classes, correct? So
Yes.
you're still going to dedicate that time to each one of us, right?
Yes, yes,
That's awesome.
absolutely, absolutely. So we've run out of time, but I encourage everybody to stay on, and then we could talk about things a little bit more. It's kind of what we do with coffee and tea. We do a half an hour live, and then we stay on, and we can talk about things, ask more questions, and so on. So on that note, those that are listening to the recording, Nanu and I, we thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And we're going to stop recording.